Silence! It's time! It's time! It's
time for another episode of the Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. Sit back and get back and get back and grab a six-pack, sit back and get back and get back and grab a six-pack, sit back and get back and get back and grab a six-pack, sit back and get back and get back and grab a six-pack, sit back and prepare to laugh. It's Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 362 of the Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. I'm your host, as always, I'm Tyler, and joining me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Man, Tyler, I'm feeling pretty freaking good. I'll tell you why. Because in the mail this week, I actually got my accessories for my microphone, and I feel like my audio quality, actually, I know for a fact my audio quality is better
Nice.
than what it was. So, yeah, basically what I did is I invested inside of a new cord for my USB, Yeti microphone. So, a replacement cord from the one that broke. But the major thing is this little, wind guard. Not wind guard, but windscreen.
Yeah, pop filter, whatever they want to call them.
Yeah, it's
There's a lot of names.
It's sort of like that, but what basically is it was fairly cheap. I spent about roughly 30 or 40 bucks altogether for the cord and also the freaking windscreen and stuff. But what I will say is, even after a couple different tests and stuff, could you tell that it was a little bit more cleaner in terms of, me actually going through and speaking for a change?
Oh, yeah, no, there's a big difference. I can certainly tell, when I got mine and stuff, I've noticed a big difference on that, too. So, it's crazy, how, that tiny little thing makes such a difference.
Man. Well, I'll tell you what, man. I got to listening to some of the past episodes of our podcast and stuff, and there was a couple things I noticed. One, my audio in regards to my laptop in the background kind of screeching a little bit. And two, especially after listening to last week's episode, which, you know what, it kind of sounded like I was in a freaking stadium because of how far away I was from the mic. Because from last week, I had my mic arranged to where it was tilted to the side, right? But I wasn't speaking directly into it. But this week, changed it up. I'm actually speaking roughly about 2 feet or so away. So, actually, no, more like a foot away. But regardless, at least I'm going to sound better.
Yeah,
but
you sound great.
Man, other than that, I went to Walmart today, and I picked up a couple things. I picked up a movie, the whole, the Alita. Yeah, Alita.
That movie is great.
I know. I was watching the video just a couple days ago in terms of anime adaptations and stuff to movies and stuff on the best, and Battle Angel Alita is supposed to be one of the best ones, so it's I'm looking forward to, watching that. But the other thing I picked up, which kind of surprised me. Now, did you know, Tyler, that there are other comic book brands other than DC and Marvel that are selling comics at Walmart?
Huh.
Well, I didn't know either until my mom ended up pointing it out to me when we were walking in the store today. We're in electronics, and I was looking at the movies, and right behind me was this comic book display. And I'm thinking, what the hell? This is odd. There's never comic book displays inside electronics. Because generally what they do inside Walmart, they usually have it bundled to where they have the trading card section. That's where all the DC and the Marvel comics are all blister packs and whatsoever sold there that nobody ever bothers going through. But no, in terms of these comics, these are actually from a company called Allegiance. Trying to get one of these books. Yeah, Allegiance Comics. So, basically, I was doing a little bit of research on them today. And this was from an Indiegogo sort of campaign or Indiegogo project where I think a husband and wife duo, went through and got a whole bunch of different people in terms of writing stories and doing artwork and stuff. And they're a little bit more pricey for comics. They're like about $5 a piece, but these are kind of like individual volumes that you would expect from like other type of retailers. But what's the big deal about this is because of Diamond, the distributor for comics, has been sort of like on hold in regards to distributing things to comic book shops and other things. Basically, big name like brands like DC and Marvel, they're not getting their stuff out as what they should be. But in terms of what this husband and wife duo was able to do, they were able to secure a deal with Walmart in order to supply their comic books. So basically I got in my hands here some of the first editions of these comics. So yeah, the standard superhero ones, like you got Red Rooster, Bass Reeves, like Futuristics, and Nora's Saga. I haven't read any of these books yet, but the artwork and the comic covers, I mean, these look fantastic. The details of it. But one factoid that I didn't know about until I was doing a little bit of research, for Bass Reeves, the writer of this actually worked on Underworld, that movie. I believe. What was that? Yeah, Underworld. Yeah, it was. But, yeah, it was just something a little bit of a surprise, because when you go through like a place like Walmart, you don't expect to see like comic books like on newsstands sort of things like you would say back in the 90s or back in like the late 80s for some people that are listening to this podcast. It's like those used to be commonplace, and that's kind of the idea what these people, this husband and wife duo, actually did, was they wanted to sort of simulate to what it was back then. But anyway, I thought it was pretty cool. But other than that,
No.
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing, Tyler?
Doing all right. It's Friday night recording, so had a nice little few days off in a row here. So that's been nice. Today's my third and final day for, unfortunately, having off in a row. But yeah, doing okay. Yesterday was my birthday, so
Yay!
turned the big 31. Woohoo! It was a good day though. Like Courtney, I talked about last week. She told me to buy a game when I got Astral Chain. The Switch, I haven't started that yet though. My sister gave me a GameStop gift card, so that was nice of her.
Yeah.
And then so I just went ahead and I bought some eShop books with that.
There you go.
Yeah, and then my parents are getting me Predator's Hunting Ground.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, they was like, "What do you want for your birthday?" I was like, "Just get me Predator." It's like it's only like $40. Like, oh, okay. I'm like, oh, cool. All right, cool. I didn't know how much they wanted to spend, but that so they're I haven't got it yet, but they're gonna give it to me this weekend. And then Justin texted me this morning and gave me a code for $20 for eShop. So
Holy shit, dude! You're getting connected all over the place.
yeah. Mix up for me getting drunk last night and buying Deadly Premonitions on eShop. So.
Oh my god! And you
I don't
bought
know
that
why.
you bought that off of a drunken whim?
Yeah, I don't know why. It sounded like a good idea. It was on sale for $15. I was just looking at the market and I was like, yeah, I'll get that. And I'm just like, this morning I was looking on I turned my Switch on and stuff, and they put the code in that Justin gave me, and I was like, it was on my main screen there. I'm like, oh yeah, right, that's right, I did that, didn't I? God,
You know what's going to happen, right? You're going to try it, and quintessentially, I kind of feel like you're going to have some sort of a cult classic feel to it. That's what I feel.
I hope so. I don't know. I mean, it's $15, so normally it's $30. But I looked at the price because Deadly Premonition 2 comes out in July now. They announced the release date, and what was it? It's gonna be $50. I'm like, oh god, why? Like, I think part of the reason why the other one had a little bit of a hit behind it because it was only $20 when it came out.
Huh.
So, but I remember that was like the big thing about that on 360 back in the day. It was like, with the first one, where it was like it was a $20 game coming out on the 360. That was, I think, a big reason why it sold as well as it did. I mean, it didn't sell like amazingly, but it sold fairly well enough. So, yeah. So I got that. I don't know why, but I did it because I got a fuck ton of games to play through right now. It's not even funny. Like, I'm still playing Final Fantasy 7.
Man, you and me both.
Yeah, it's like. Yeah, I got like Final Fantasy 7, Resident Evil 3, Astral Chain, Borderlands 3. Oh, I bought the John Wick game on PS4. I love John Wick. It's one of my favorite movie franchises probably in the last 10 years or so. And they came out on Steam, I think, like earlier this year, and it just released on PS4 on Tuesday or Thursday, I think. So I bought that, and then Streets of Rage 4 is on Game Pass. So it's like I went from like 2 months ago, like right before Doom came out, I had nothing to play, and now I have like 8 games to play. So
well, you got yourself busy.
Yeah, and then now we have, hoping I can knock these games. Luckily, all of these games are like outside of like Final Fantasy. Like I'm let's jump into what we've been playing right now. I'm almost done with it. I'm pretty deep into chapter 16. There's 18 chapters.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I'm like, I think I just about hit the 30-hour mark. But it's getting better as it goes. So I'm really enjoying that. I did not enjoy, like, there's like 3 different sections in the game where there's just like, you can just do side quests if you want to. And then for the most part, the side quests are like, a lot of them are, they're not fantastic, but they're fun enough or quick enough that they're not really big. Like, you can just knock them out in like 20 minutes or less. And this last one, like, so like you've been through the entire world at this point that they have. And now for the first time that the entire thing's open to you, normally it's like you can only be in these sections at this time. And like you just explore that section while there. It's actually smartly done, where it's like that area like the back of your hand now. Like there's like 4 areas in the game, like main areas in the world, and like you spend a decent amount of time in each one where like you get to know it fairly well. So now like the whole thing is open to you, so you can travel from area to area, which you really haven't been able to do before. And like there's like they give you like usually they drop like 3 or 4 like 4 to 6 side quests on you. In each area when you get there, and you can knock them out in like 2 hours, but it's not a very big area. They're fairly easy to do, and like I said, they take 20 minutes or so to do. And this one they drop like I think like 9 on you, and they don't tell you. Usually it tells you the person you gotta talk to, and you just go up talk to them to what you gotta do, and there might be a few different things you gotta do for each one. But like I said, not a big deal. Most of these ones where it's like, hey, my chocobos are gone. I can't find them. Can you help me find them? And you got to walk through the entire world map. It's not huge, but there's enough lefts and rights and stuff, and like areas you can easily miss an area when you're walking around. And there's some like tunnels and subways and stations you have to go through, where I spent 45 minutes just trying to find these 3 goddamn chocobos. And then there's like, well, the children disappeared. Help me go find them. And normally it just tells you like, all right, they're around here. Go in this general area and look for them. There was none of that at all. And I don't know. You have to retread a lot of areas, and just trying to find the people you have to talk to in order to get these done. It probably took me an hour and a half just to find all of the people to talk to, let alone in like another 3 hours to do all the side quests. It was not fun. Like this, most of them were just like, hey, can you go deliver this to this person, or hey, go fight this guy, take these creatures, take care of these creatures for me, or something, or things like that. And like I said, they're short, and then I don't know. I just did not like this last batch. It's like, okay, well we got 3 good ones here, and we have 6 ideas for some bullshit JRPG fetch quest shit. Should we throw them in there? Yes, throw them in there. People love that stuff. Maybe people do. I don't know. I did not enjoy that, but I mean, minor complaints. But no, I like when you're on the main path of the game. It's awesome. It's fantastic. Like I said, I'm in the end game now, so I can't wait to hopefully beat it before we record next. And then I'm probably gonna start on Astral Chain. Because that one's like the next longest. Like I looked up about how long it takes to beat that one. It says like 15-20 hours. And then everything else I have after that is like 5 hours or less, pretty much. So like I heard like Street Rage 4 is like, if you want it like the playthrough is only a couple hours. And like John Wick. Borderlands is going to be a game. Well, I guess Borderlands will be the longest one, but I'll jump into that when I get to it. But I just want to knock out a decent chunk, if not all of these, if I can, before Last of Us 2 comes out. So... but that's all I've been playing. More Final Fantasy 7. Hopefully next week have that done and jump on to the next game. What about you, Gables?
All right. So from what I've been playing for this week, I have not beaten just 1, but I've beaten 2 games this past week since our last recording. One was the story mode For Honor, the Ubisoft game. So basically, from the last time that I was talking about For Honor and stuff, basically this game is divided into 3 chapters, right? And so you have individual things for the knights, the Vikings, and then the samurai. Each one of them are separated by 6 parts, 6 missions to each chapter. So after going through a lot of the story elements of it, the gameplay was fine. I felt the gameplay was fine for what it was. There are some characters I liked playing as, because in this story mode and stuff, you get to play as a lot of different characters. There were some characters I thought was surprising that was not even allowed to play inside those story elements. Like, say for the samurai section, Shigoki. That warrior, this big old dude or something like that he is easy to use right, but yet he predominantly does like heavy hits, and he can grab people and stuff and toss them aside and this and that, and he's got a huge amount of armor and stuff. I mean, yeah, that sounds fun to use, honestly. But in terms of the campaigns in and of itself for each chapter, I felt like there was a good mix of, like, say, easy characters to use, and like have maybe assortment of like medium characters you can use. I kind of felt like by the end of the last chapter, in terms of the samurai stuff, they had you controlling characters that are pretty hard to play, honestly. Like, the character class that I'm more or less referring to is the Orochi. The Orochi is a specific type of samurai and stuff that is very counter-based. And what I mean by that is you are reliant upon quick reflexes and counteracting hits. So, what's my weakest part about this game? Dodging and countering. So it took me quite a bit of time to get used to, and honestly, now that I think about it, I'm still not used to countering and doing a lot of the different things with the characters in For Honor. That was one of the issues that I did have, because in terms of gameplay, it's very much of, okay, you gotta attack one of 3 quadrants. It's sort of like a rock, paper, scissors effect, where if you go, say, to the left side and attack someone, you can catch them off guard. But if they're blocking that same spot, that reflects your blow, and you lose a little bit of stamina from there. And so what sounds like an easy concept in general becomes a little bit more of a managing of your stamina meter in terms of what types of hit you want to do, whether or not you want to counter with, say, with like another light hit or a heavy hit or a grapple. But in regards to the cohesiveness of the story mode, I thought that it was okay at best. It definitely was not memorable. It was more or less sort of like the trope of, oh hey, this group of knights and stuff is the dedicated bad guys, and here's this person right here that's pretty much the cause of this whole entire thing, causing war and doing this and that just for the sake of causing war, It's like the biggest generic type of reasoning behind things. It's basically the type of person who just wants everything to burn. But gameplay-wise, I thought was fine. Like I said before, this is a game that I will definitely go back to in terms of playing online with friends. But in terms of, say, the story-wise stuff, the only reason why I would go back to these story missions now is if I want to accumulate currency in order to unlock different characters. Which, quite honestly, there is a bunch of different characters that, I kid you not, you would have to pay like 10,000 in-game currency, like coins or something, in order to unlock them. Basically, all the currency that I earned throughout that entire playthrough, that spanned 8.5 hours, earned me about roughly 8,000 to about 850, 8,000, like 500 coins in general, and a whole bunch of the base characters that are around those factions of the knights, the Vikings, and the samurai. They're like 500 coins apiece. And then like the other characters that were like introduced later, they're like 10,000, because Ubisoft wants you to try to purchase those battle passes in order to make things easier. The whole microtransaction shit. But in terms of, say, how much fun I had, I'll be honest, I did have my good amount of fun playing this game. But for the outsider looking in, if you are looking at this game and if you're interested in it, honestly, I'd try it. I mean, there's a bunch of discounts going now for Honor right now, especially inside brick and mortar like places for not just the original, but also for the special edition that has the year one thing where they're like discounting it to like $15. I'll tell you what, if you find that and you have a slight amount of interest in playing a fighting game like For Honor, delve into it. Buy it, because that'll give you a good set. And if you are fairly interested and you want to try out more characters that are there, there's like the year 3 pass pretty much, where you can just go through, spend maybe $15 to $30 or something from that and get their own selected characters. But honestly, that's pretty much up to whether or not you want to go through and endure, say, a slog of a fighting game like For Honor is. Which, you know what? In and of itself, I kind of felt the game was just kind of mixed at best, but I still had a lot of fun playing the characters that I did. Now, we go from For Honor to the other game that I beat, which is Tekken 7. I'll tell you this. Tekken 7, the story mode, I'll tell you what, the story in any Tekken game, you do not even remotely try to piece or make enough sense of it. It's goofy, it's campy, but honestly, the reason why you go and play Tekken to begin with is because of the action, because of the fighting, because of the differentiating characters and their fighting styles. That is the reason why I go through and invest my time in playing Tekken. And I kid you not, Tyler, as soon as I started playing through the story mode and I started going through and playing as different characters, I started to get all sorts of good feels back again in terms of when I was playing Tekken 6. Because the battle system, just the fighting mechanics of Tekken in and of itself is so fun to learn. There's literally like lists upon lists of moves a character can use and do, but you know, you're not going to remember all those fucking moves, of course. And this is part of the reason why that the learning curve of like memorization of getting good with one character is incredibly high, because you have to go through and memorize not only the combos, but in what direction you're going to go and attack somebody, or if you're going to counter, like, say, light attacks that the opponent throws at you with, like, say, like an uppercut that launches them in the air, and then you have to go into technicalities by trying to maintain, like, your opponent juggled in the air, quintessentially, where they're staying up in the air even though you're attacking and, like, propelling them inside this immense chain combo. The most fun that I had playing through the story mode was getting to play characters, like I said, like Akuma, which I'll kid you not, the whole battle between Akuma and Heihachi, Jesus Christ, dude. This was fucking hard as balls. I kid you not, this story mode at points was freaking hard as balls, but I loved how much action and how much things that I was actually going through. But I'll tell you what, man, it started to break me a bit towards the end of that freaking story mode. Because quintessentially, we're looking at a 3 to 4 hour story mode, right? And you're playing a whole bunch of different characters. There were a couple battles which were absolutely pissing me off, man. And that was when you had to fight characters, to say, like Heihachi's wife, and like Heihachi himself, even Akuma at some points. And you know how bullshit Akuma is in the Street Fighter games. And so it's like when you face off against him in Tekken, he still has those fucking Street Fighter movesets, dude. He has those aerial fireballs he does, that air Tatsumaki and stuff, and his freaking Hadoukens, and his freaking all this other stuff. And he even has his fucking finisher, too, from Street Fighter 4. So that's basically what it's modeled straight up after. Like, modeled after. But, to be perfectly honest with you, Tekken 7 is like a fantastic fighting game. Even though I had my quibs with like the story mode in of itself, it still didn't prevent me from enjoying the other aspects of the games, which I only enjoy like a select few characters, but yet because I bought the initial package when I did, I got the chance to experience, say, other features, say like the whole treasure battle scenario, like the whole Tekken bowling thing, which is so fun to fucking play. It's so fun to play. I streamed that for a time on Twitch, but at the same point, oh Jesus Christ, man, it's like this is definitely worth it in terms of people who are fighting game fans. If you have not tried Tekken 7, by all means, please pick up the game for cheap. wait for a colossal sale either on the Xbox One or the PS4, because do what I did. The base game, get it for next to nothing, and then like get like this Ultimate Edition thing for like $25, then like get the rest of the game for like $25. You know, $50 for the whole complete package is an absolute steal. And quite honestly, this is a game that I will go back to. But that was Tekken 7. But yeah, pretty much the last things in terms of what I had been playing was Animal Crossing, obviously. Not as much, not as memorable in terms of what I have been doing with my time since then. Been playing with some friends, like interchanging items and this and that. But I finally paid off my house, so that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So what's left is to try, for me, potentially to get a 5-star island, which I may or may not do. But overall, it's just whatever I feel like I want to do with it at this point. I've already beaten the game, seen the end credits, I've already paid off my house, I've already done everything in terms of satisfying Tom Nook with his whole issues and this and that, but yeah, that's pretty much it for what I have been playing.
All right, well, very cool, Gables. Now we have a plethora of news topics this week to talk about.
Oh yeah.
We'll jump into I think the biggest one first. Xbox had their third-party reveal. Inside Xbox is what they've been calling it for the Xbox Series X. It was the first time we ever see actual gameplay for the Series X. And their big thing they were pushing was we talked about last week where they revealed Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yes.
But it was the night before they showed the trailer, which was no gameplay in. And the big thing was that they were teasing. You'll see gameplay for the first time at the Xbox event. So they showed off 13 games.
Right.
It was all third-party stuff. They mentioned though that in July they were going to be doing a big first-party blowout, whatever you want to call it. And I think in June. So the big thing is they're calling it Xbox 2020, as in like Vision 2020, not the year. And they're going to be doing events every month through the rest of the year, starting with this one. I think June is we're going to see more about the console itself. And then July, we're going to see more about the games. So I'll go through the 13 games that were shown off. Assassin's Creed Valhalla was there. A lot of these games were like first-time reveals, like Bright Memory Infinite was a game that's revealed. It's a first-person sci-fi shooter. It's actually being developed by a single developer, which is really impressive when you saw the gameplay that we did see from it. Another game called Call of the Sea was revealed. It's a 1930s puzzler game. I've heard some people say it has like some like Firewatch vibes, which I kind of got from it, but there wasn't really much there. It was a quick little teaser. Another game called Corvs, I believe is how you pronounce it. It's a space combat shooter. Or no, is it Chorus?
Chorus, I've heard it called.
Chorus, really?
Yeah.
It looks like it's spelled Corvs though in the title. This is stupid.
Yeah, you're not the only one that mistaked it. It's their fancy way of saying chorus.
Okay, well, I hate it. Okay, all right. So it's called Chorus. My bad. It's supposed to be out sometime in 2021. Dirt 5 was revealed. They had Madden NFL 21. They said that EA did announce this week that all their games are going to be part of the smart delivery system, which is if you buy it on the Xbox One, that if you got an Xbox Series X, then you'll automatically get that Series X version for free. But the thing they didn't tell you is that if you have to buy it by the end of the year, the Xbox One, the Xbox Series X, you have to buy a copy of Madden by the end of the year, and then before April you have to have got a Series X and up-res that copy to get it for free. So it doesn't sound like it's a permanent thing. It's just like it's free for a little bit if you do it. Scarlet Nexus was also revealed. It's that's a Bandai Namco game, right?
Yes, that's actually it's a Bandai Namco game. Yes.
Yeah, and it's a third person action fighter game. Scorn was revealed. Well, not revealed. I guess there was a trailer released 3 years ago on YouTube. But it's supposed to be a first person horror adventure game, but there was just no actual gameplay there. It was just very weird visuals. Second Extinction, which I thought was like an online Turok remake or something. a reboot. But it's called Second Extinction. It's like 4 people fighting dinosaurs, mutant dinosaurs. Then another game we got was The Ascent, which is like a top-down shooter. It's like a RPG, cyberpunk version of that. Then The Medium was revealed. It is a psychological horror game. People actually made the Blair Witch game. Observer and Layers of Fear are the ones making this. And you take the role of a Mary Ann, a medium caught between 2 worlds, the real one and the spirit world. And there'll be more soon, I guess. And then Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 was I don't think it was revealed. We've heard of it. It was announced, but first time we got a trailer from them. And then Yakuza Like a Dragon. It's actually going to be a launch game for the Series X. No word if it's going to be a PS5 game. But I think that was all the games that were revealed. We both watched it, Gables. It was about 30 minutes long. Mm-hmm. What was your overall take from this gameplay reveal event?
It was underwhelming at best, honestly. To be perfectly honest with you, there were some games that were fairly interesting to me, like, say, Bright Memory Infinite. I mean, that trailer was like the only one I felt that looked remarkably almost like next gen, and that was created by one person. That in and of itself blows my mind that one person came up with that initial gameplay and that initial look and feel of that game. So it's like what I was saying. There was a lot of games I thought that were interesting. Bright Memory Infinite being one of them. Dirt 5 and like Call of the Sea because of its reminiscent, almost looks like Firewatch in that regards. But the Medium was an interesting looking game. I mean, pathological sort of like horror theme, like in almost like say a way like say I want to say The Evil Within or like say, God, there's like other games of that sort as well, but I forget off the top of my head. But Scarlet Nexus, it kind of looks pretty fun in that regards. It's the first thing that I thought off the top of my head when I saw the initial footage of it was, oh yeah, that's sort of like Devil May Cry, or hey, that's it has some themes of Astral Chains. It looks like, but
yeah.
I'll tell you what though, the one that kind of like was the last one that I thought was fairly interesting was Yakuza Like a Dragon, only because I looked at the game and I was like, oh, okay, this is Yakuza, and all of a sudden I get to the part of the trailer where he draws out a sword, this mythical sword. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And you know what? Yakuza's been that series where I've always wanted to invest and try out one of the games and see if I would like it or not. But I'll tell you what, man, Yakuza Like a Dragon looks pretty fun. But I feel that overall, the conference by Microsoft, this whole first gameplay things for the Xbox Series X, was underwhelming at best. And because of the fact that there was very minimal gameplay that was showed throughout that entire conference, the first trailer for Bright Memory Infinite was the only type of gameplay I actually saw that actually was similar to that of, say, next gen, But you had things like Scorn, which, Scorn, I really do not care for that game because that initial trailer didn't really, impress me all that much. I mean, hey, it's a trailer. Yeah. It's more like...
The weird penis thing really threw me off, too.
Oh, there was definitely a lot of phallus things going on in that trailer. But but what I'm saying is, it just basically looks gruesome for the sake of looking gruesome and gothic, sort of like in that sort of alienistic sort of way. Madden 21, it's Madden. You know what you're gonna get. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. That was a weird ass fucking trailer, and I did not know it was Vampire the Masquerade until like maybe a couple seconds of gameplay, and all of a sudden you have the freaking banner of what the game's name is, and I'm like, okay, that's sort of interesting, but that's sort of a terrible way in order to advertise your game, because the first thing is...
I thought it was like a Joker game at first.
Dude.
With those big smiling faces, and I'm like, is this a Batman? Are they not seeing the Batman game now?
Oh my god.
Like, oh, it's vampires. No,
oh my god, though. But it was like, seeing the initial trailer, and you see this dude dancing inside of a living room, inside of this like Christmas-like setting with obviously it was corpses manipulated to where it's like, oh hey, we got big old smiles, and then it's like, oh okay, that's not unnerving at all. Then you see a little reference of vampires and this and that, which kind of, for a moment had me thinking Vampire, but
oh God, let's not talk about Vampire.
that's the first thing I thought, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines 2. Yeah. Then there was The Ascent. The Ascent, it was sort of like Diablo style, but it got a big old meh from that. The whole Second Extinction, like Reclaim Earth or whatever the hell it was called.
Yeah, Reclaim Earth. It
looked like a bland squad-based shooter, but the only driving point is, oh, hey, you're gunning down a bunch of dinosaurs here and of in itself, which, there's a way you can play that into a thing where it make it seem interesting, but it seems much more bland than, say, like Turok, Turok is well respected. It's a good game for its time and stuff, and honestly, I haven't played the initial, like, re-release of, say, Turok, say, on Switch or whatever, but, yeah, man, it's like Second Extinction did not give a good first impression to me. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, let's not forget about the big old elephant in the room, the 800-pound freaking gorilla inside the room, and that's Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah.
For a company like Ubisoft, which, granted, they've had their missteps and stuff, in order to tell people, it's like, oh, hey, let's see this, just a day before, it's like, hey, we're going to show this gameplay like trailer here on Thursday at this time and stuff. And basically they sort of backtrack it inside of the way where it's like, well, there is a bit of gameplay, but the cutscenes are in the gameplay engine. I'm like, that's not the fucking same thing. Yeah. That was the biggest disappointment of that entire thing, I mean, the conference by Microsoft was underwhelming at best, but it was a wet fart when you had Ubisoft show Assassin's Creed Valhalla, a second trailer, no promised gameplay whatsoever, and then immediately go into the developer, sort of interviews and stuff, talking about the game and stuff, which honestly, we did learn some tidbits about the game itself, like it's going to be a little bit smaller in scope of, the actual overall exploration as compared to, say, Odyssey, that was well in-depth and had a lot of, detail and stuff to it. I mean, hell, I never played through it, but I know you did for a lot, Tyler. But, oh, fuck. If I had to give it any type of grading, I'd give it a fucking 3 out of 10, man. That was boring as shit, but yet the presentation of it was, the best they've had. But this did not convince me that this is next generation. It kind of reinforced the element of what I had previously when I bought this PlayStation 4 Pro a couple weeks ago, where it's like, hey, I'm gonna wait another 2 years and stuff like that until the systems actually go forth and be presentable to what they are. But what I will say is, we'll see the first party stuff obviously in July, I guess, from Microsoft. Sony hasn't said anything in regards to what they're going to be doing for their PS5 details and what games are coming to that system. And obviously Nintendo has their own thing going towards the end of the summer, but Tyler, what did you think about this whole ordeal?
I'm pretty much in agreement with you on that. Pretty much about everything said. I think that's the most frustrating. I think first off, announcing it. I mean, you want to make a big deal because they do a lot of inside Xboxes and stuff. Yeah. But they're always small things, and they don't really get a lot of attention to them. You might see a little article, and there might be a little thing comes out of it, but for the most part, they're never really an event. And yeah, I think one thing, obviously, it's kind of like the issue that PlayStation had 6 weeks ago or so when they announced the PS5 spec thing, and people were a lot of casual fans or people don't really pay much attention to this kind of stuff went a little crazy with it, where it's oh, well, they're gonna show off gameplay, or maybe we'll see the box or things like that. And it's no, this is just they're gonna just go a deep nerd dive into the specs of this console and what's in it and how it runs and what makes it go, basically. And I think this had a little bit of that same issue where they announced it, obviously. I mean, you're gonna have the issue regardless. We always overhype Nintendo Directs every time, and there's been 50 of those. It's we can't help it. We do it. We go crazy. Our minds go to the things we want the most. And I mean, sometimes they're great and they're better than the things that we want the most. They actually have something better than what we thought we wanted. But even still, there's always that little disappointment you have because there's always those fake rumors that come out. And I don't know. But I think the biggest issue was with it. If they were just came out and said it's a third party event, we're gonna show off some third party games and reveal some third party games and just left it at that, maybe it wouldn't have been such a big deal. But I think the big thing was they kept announcing. The big thing is like they kept hyping was you're going to see gameplay, and it's like this is a 30-minute or so event, and we saw 2-3 minutes of gameplay combined from these 13 games. I mean, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. There might have been 20 seconds of gameplay in that 2-minute trailer, and that was the big thing they were hyping to come watch this thing was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And they even hyped it up during the thing. Stay tuned for Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay reveal. And it's like you blinked and you missed it. I don't know. Like I think the big issue is a lot of these games might be great or really good, and if shown off in a proper setting, there might be a little more hype and excitement for these. But I think in a vacuum of what this event was supposed to be, it was very disappointing. Like I think the Bright Memory Infinite, like looks like it could be cool. But that's the issue we have was like a lot of these are like brand new franchises, and I always hate when you go and get like gameplays. Or you don't get you get like a teaser trailer with no gameplay in it, because I don't know how to feel. It's like I can get excited for like an Assassin's Creed 4 or Assassin's Creed Valhalla, like no gameplay thing because I'm like, okay, I know what this game is. And all right, cool. It's in a Valhalla. It's in a Viking setting. I'm down with that. You can do that with Uncharted, or you can do that with God of War, or you can do that with Halo. Like people will get excited because we know what those brands are. And it's like you look at, all of these games, what Dirt is a well-known franchise. Madden is a well-known franchise. And then the Vampire, people know what that is. But I don't know. And then Yakuza. But this is a different type of Yakuza game than we're ever going to have before. It's not the same as the other ones. I don't know. I can't. Go ahead.
Well, like I was saying and stuff, there are two things that I initially have kind of a beef with, say, this press conference. One, there was not one legit game that was shown throughout this whole spiel where I initially thought that I was going to go out and buy. And the second being is like, I had some moderate interest and stuff, but none of them showed any type of desire for me to buy it on the Xbox Series X over, say, like the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One or the PC. Because games say like Scarlet Nexus, Yakuza Like a Dragon and stuff, Assassin's Creed, obviously, and then like Dirt 5, the whole Forza Horizon sort of themed Dirt game. Those games I could initially enjoy on the PlayStation 4. And quite honestly, I may pick up maybe one or two of them on the PlayStation 4. But I think from the initial offerings, it failed me to even get remotely interested inside of the third-party offerings on the Series X. And that's the most important thing. If you're trying to appeal, what Microsoft's trying to appeal with their third-party partners is the initial point of why should we buy a third-party game on this system while we already have what we got. And nothing from what they showed was a major improvement of what we got. That was the impression that I perceived and what many others also perceived in that regards. So on those two grounds, it's like, this message was kind of lost.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the big issue is like, and like we always want more new franchises, more different variety of things. But I think something like this, if you're going to do it this way, is like you need to have more like franchises we know maybe, like the kind of bring people like okay, so like we know. Like, okay, bring Assassin's Creed Valhalla, that's perfect, but they did it a bad way. I think everything about this was bad. They did it wrong. Or it's like, it's cool, like, you throw some new stuff in there, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But in this setting, what you're trying to do is, like, you're trying to, like I said, sell the Series X. It's like, show us something we know. Like, and, like, give us a reason, show off that thing. I think, like, I want to point out one thing before I move on to my next point is Scarlet Nexus looks badass. That game looks fucking awesome. Like,
it does.
I want to play the game. But I'm not going to get it on, the Series X or the... or if I get one of the new consoles and it comes out around then I'll get that on that. But I'm not gonna get it. I'm not gonna get a new console because of it. Which it's kind of what your point was. But I think the whole way they did this was just bad. Where like I saw someone did like this really good like string of tweets that I like. I agree with what their take was. I don't agree with what they used as an example. They said like the Nintendo Switch announcement thing we had a few Januaries ago, like right before the console came out, when they finally gave us a price, a release date, and they showed off a bunch of games. Like they they did it the perfect way, where it started off, they showed off all their first party games, like all the things they're like having coming soon for it, and then in the future, and then they focused on the console itself, gave us a price, gave us the date and all that, and then and then after that they focused on like third party stuff. So I think they did it completely backwards, where it's like they're going to do third party, then we're going to get the details on the console, then we're going to get first party. It's like, well, the thing that's going to sell these consoles more than anything is going to be the first party titles. You look at like the big reason a lot of people have gone to PlayStation, and PlayStation's kicking ass this year. Not only the beginning of the franchise where Xbox bungled the whole thing, but look at all the fucking games. Like we always talk about, like Xbox hasn't had a really great first party game like that's taken over. That's been a big, huge, like, seemed like Halo 5 came and went. We've got one Halo game this generation. One. That's nuts. Not including Halo Wars 2. We've got one Halo game.
See.
Like
Halo
we've got
5
Gears
Guardians, you have like freaking Halo
two
Wars
Gears
2.
games. Yeah.
But in terms of like other Halo stuff, you have the whole Master Chief Collection, which included all the things from the previous generations on top of...
They fucked that up.
Yeah, they initially messed that up on the launch, but they kind of redeemed it with, say... I kind of felt like they redeemed it with, say, the inclusion of ODST and also Reach later on in the cycle, but it took a long while for that to get to that point. But,
but you look at like that, I think, and that's why I just don't understand. It's like, and I think they have the goods coming. Maybe they don't have them to show right now. I don't know. Maybe that's an issue, but I don't know. I feel like, I mean, it's cool. You want to show off all these great games. Like if these are exclusives to them, that's great. But it just feels like the same issue I've had with them for the last few E3s with Microsoft, was like, oh, we have the most games to show off this at this press conference. It's like we have 75 games to show off, but it's like most of those games you see are coming to other consoles. They're not exclusive, and they show so many that it's so hard for any of them to really stick in your brain. And then it's like Sony will come in and show off 8 games, and all of those games, and they're like, all of them are like high quality games, and they leave a lasting impact in your brain. Because one, they didn't throw 70 games at you in 90 minutes, and they focus long term on those games. But they're also those games, they show off a decent amount. Same with Nintendo, like not all the games at the direct stick out to you, but there's always a 4 or 5 or 6 that usually do, and they might only focus on 10 or 12, and I just feel like that's all it was. It was like, here's a shit ton of games we have in a short amount of time. And I don't know. I don't want to, I'm not going to bash these games. Because these games, like I said, all these games could be really good, and they just got shown off at the wrong event. And I'm glad that these games are getting this, shown off, but I don't know. I like the Ascent, though. I do want to kind of, like, how many goddamn top-down shooters have we seen? Like, that feels like the big thing we've seen the last decade is like, it seems like there's like 5 of those a month that get released. They just come and go. Dirt 5, I mean, there's an audience for that, but it's not a big audience. I don't know. I don't know. I don't. It was frustrating. I want a reason to love Xbox. I want a reason to come back. And I have the Xbox One X. I want a reason to play the goddamn thing. I still just don't feel like there's a reason, but I'm hoping that the next 2 months they kill it with their events. But we need to move on because we are going long and we still have like 5 more topics. Moving on, not really a lot to say here, but EA Play is happening. They announced on June 11th. It's going to be a completely digital event. And they also announced that they have like 14 games, I think it was, to show that they're going to release this year. So they announced that there's going to be world premieres, news, and more. And there's been talks that I forgot there's the leak that's come out that the Mass Effect trilogy is happening. So that's pretty awesome. That's been the new thing, and maybe the Dragon Age game that was revealed a couple years ago, we'll see more on. But I don't know. I mean, the EA Play has been such a weird thing the last few years, and like last year they tried to change it up to like this weird like event where they just kind of like what like PlayStation did with their last E3 showing, where it's like we're gonna just focus on like 5 games and spend 15-20 minutes on each of them, going deep dive into gameplay and trailer and stuff like that. I don't know, but are you excited about this EA Play?
Not really. It's basically a Mass Effect trilogy or bust with me. And bear in mind, I would like to see what if they are working on the sequel to the Force, not the Force. Wait, no. What one was
Jedi
it?
Fallen Order.
Yeah, Jedi Fallen Order. The sequel to that. I don't know why I was thinking about the 360 games, but
I'd be okay with that.
Those two, basically, that's it. As long as
Yeah.
you get to play the Mass Effect trilogy on the PS4, I'm fucking fine.
I think I'm hope. I mean, that's the big thing to come out of it. I'm hoping though that they do like there's something different. I don't see the Jedi Fallen Order thing happening. They just announced they just had that update come out with some like new game plus and stuff. Maybe some small DLC, but I think they're completely onto the sequel at this point. But I'm with you. Like the Mass Effect. I mean, as far as things we know, but I mean, every now and again they throw out a new cool franchise or a game. I think the Mass Effect trilogy is the big one that I think all of us want, and like it's the same. Yeah, Mass Effect or bust at this point. The only thing other that I'm really looking forward to is there's been rumors that they're adding a street mode in Madden this year. So if there's some sort of street Madden or some NFL street style thing in there this year, that would make me really excited. I'm gonna buy Madden regardless, but I'd be really excited if they add in. There'd just be one more thing to play on there. So. Moving on, let's jump into. We'll stick with some of the big people here. So, a big thing is it sounds like that there's gonna be no Nintendo Direct in June, and then possibly might not be one until end of summer or early fall. So yeah, I don't. It's hard to be like frustrated or mad at, anybody right now, with everything going on in the world. Everybody's just kind of got thrown for a loop. But it's just like that was the most depressing. A lot of great things come out of that Nintendo conference call, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. But the most depressing thing was they showed off all the games they have coming out for the first half of 2019. It's like we got Xenoblade, we've got the Pokemon first part expansion, and that's it. It's like that's all they got. Oh, then we got the new Smash Bros. Character. That's everything they have for the first 6 months of this year. But I don't know, Gables, where are you at with this?
Well, honestly, it's disappointing, obviously, but at the same point, they're still working on a lot of the games. They actually went forth and confirmed that they are working on games like, say, Metroid Prime 4, the whole sequel to Breath of the Wild and stuff. But obviously, things are taking a lot more longer than anticipated because of the whole COVID-19 stuff. And you know what? That's pretty much it. I really don't have too much else to share. It's just like, it's disappointing, but at the same time, I understand why they have to do it.
Yeah, it's like you get it, but it's just like it sucks. 'Cause it's like I want something to look forward to on my Switch.
But then again, there's a hell of a lot of good games on Switch.
Yeah, no, there is, but it's just like it's definitely been like a spoiled lately thing, and it's just I don't know. I think still have some shit to show us this year, but it's just like I think it's just like you're going nuts with like the lack of like knowledge. Kind of thing. It's like I'm going like, what the fuck do you have for us?
People are going people are just going stir crazy with the lack of Nintendo news, especially if they are like waiting to the end of the summer and stuff. There will be more stuff released by Nintendo by the end of the year. It's just it's going to be a lot less than what we had anticipated.
Yeah. But speaking of that conference call we had, they came in. This is all of the sales through March of 2020. They have confirmed they sold 55 million Nintendo Switches have been sold. So obviously selling fucking crazy well. And then they announced that Mario Kart has sold over 24 million units. Pokemon Sword and Shield have sold over 17. Animal Crossing, as in 11 days on the market, sold almost 12 million copies, and at this point has sold over almost 14 million copies, outselling the entire franchise has already done for all the individual game has done in its lifetime. And they said that they expected the lifetime sales to be 13 million. It's already surpassed it in 6 weeks on the market. And then what was it? Luigi's Mansion 3 has already sold almost 7 million copies. Super Mario Maker 2 sold about 6. And then the new Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, that's already sold almost 7. And And then there's something else I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, so they announced that 50% of the Animal Crossing sales were digital. So I think, and they also they don't expect that to be an ongoing thing. Obviously, the times we're in right now, it's a little harder to go out there and get physical copies of games. But
it's still not stopping people from buying them.
yeah, no, I think that's a great time, better time than ever to have digital be an option, because yeah, it's crazy. That's awesome to see. Like I think we all knew. I mean, we all knew that Animal Crossing was really probably had the best thing. It was doing the best out of any console, anything video game wise. Like they're obviously doing well because doing better because of the pandemic we're in right now. But I don't think anybody expected it to do as well as it is doing. I don't know, Gil, what's your takeaway from all this?
Rather impressive, honestly. I think the interesting little details is that for the lifetime sales of like the Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey are like relatively tied.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot that. Yep.
And on top of that, it's like, with the exception of one game on that list, the rest have sold over 10 million units of software in their lifetime. That's freaking crazy. Where it's like, all of those games have, and I know this is kind of bad, all of those games have sold, for the most part, more than the entire lifespan of the Wii U console itself.
yeah, it's crazy. Like
that's what's crazy about it to me, and that's what kind of makes it much more eye-opening in terms of like how much of a success the Switch has been in terms of their sales. And what's even more hilarious and what's more interesting is the software sales is almost neck to neck with the entire lifespan of the 3DS already. Yeah. 3 years in.
Yeah, it's getting close. I think they showed they talked about the sales of the 3DS, and it only did like it was like just about 1 million were sold in the last year. And that's it for 3DS. So.
And this is what they're considering like barely the middle of like the life cycle of the Switch. Now and honestly, I'm happy that they said this is like the middle part of it, because it's like, ain't no way in hell that they're going to be like going through and updating this fucking Switch or someone replacing it anytime soon. I would much rather have this thing on the market for like a full 7 years, because if it's doing this numbers and it's being that successful for Nintendo, God, keep on chucking out like any type of like any and all games and stuff that you freaking can put at this thing. Because everyone else from like other game industry, like third-party developers, from like even the most obscure of games are making it onto this platform that you wouldn't see anywhere else. So it's like, it's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. I think I hope this thing keeps selling really well, and I hope but I also don't want them to stick with this thing too long, especially if it starts losing that momentum, because that's something we saw with the Wii, where it's like they were on top of the world for like 3 years, and they just kind of like stuck with that, and they never really moved, like kind of expanded past that. And you saw like by the end of the generation, it was just like Nintendo was in a worse spot, because of the Wii. I mean, it made it a super seller, obviously, but they stuck with that kind of that platform for too long, and obviously moving into the Wii U put them in some dark ages there. So one, I hope they can keep this momentum, and two, if they have something a really great banger idea for a console, like I don't know how you top this though. I really don't. Like I don't know how you get. I think a lot of us felt the same way about the Wii. It was like, how do you pass? You can't go back to a normal console, and I still think that's true. Like they can't go back to like a normal console. So who knows how they're gonna move past this and expand upon all this. And they also announced there's gonna be no Switch Pro this year, which I don't think anybody's really surprised about. But they said they didn't have a new Switch, any new plans for a new Switch last year, and they ended up releasing the Switch Lite. So we obviously can't trust anything they say. So, yeah. So moving on here. So Mortal Kombat 11 dropped a surprise trailer like a teaser trailer on like Monday. Monday, and then on Tuesday they released like a 3-minute trailer for a new expansion for Mortal Kombat 11 called Aftermath. It comes out on May 26th. Nunu, will you stop? I don't know why. Nunu, she's vaping at me for some reason. I don't know why. But it's coming out May 26th. It's gonna be if you already own Mortal Kombat 11, it's really confusing here how this works out. So you need to have a copy of Mortal Kombat 11, but you also need to have the battle passes for the games. But if you already have Mortal Kombat 11, but you don't have the battle passes, there's this $50 bundle you can buy to get all that shit with Aftermath. If you have the first Combat Pack and Mortal Kombat 11, there's a $40 version that gives you Aftermath and all the other shit you need. But if you don't have any of that, for $60 you get the full game, the Combat Packs, and you get Aftermath. So very confusing. At first, when I read one thing, like it was very confusing at first because I was like reading stuff about it. It's like someone said you don't need to even have Mortal Kombat 11 to play this, which was like awesome because I don't have my copy anymore. I sold it. I'm like, this is great. I want to play this thing. Then I saw it was $40. I'm like, I don't know if I want to play it for that much. But yeah, and this one it's like it completely spoils the end of the first game. But like any spoilers for people that haven't seen it, or you play like Shang Tsung is the main character in this game, and then Shiva returns, and then RoboCop is in there for some reason. He's one of the characters in the combat pack, but he's also, I think he's a character in this expansion, I think. So I don't know how that's gonna work. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think you played Mortal Kombat 11. I think I'm gonna wait to see this because I have to like spend the whole $60 again on Mortal Kombat, and I'm not gonna replay through the campaign. I just want to play this thing, but I don't know if I want to pay $60 to play through this thing.
Oh my gosh! I'll tell you what. What's more or less interesting on Warner Brothers found a way to make it even more so pricier for the people that invested in Mortal Kombat 11 to begin with, because it's like they paid $60 for the game, and now they potentially, if they didn't even buy any type of like season passes, you got to pay like an additional $50 in order to get.
Yeah, it's really crazy. It's like, hey, you have to buy our last DLC pack. Plus, you got to buy this DLC pack.
But at the same time, that's nothing different in terms of what, say, Bandai Namco has done with, like, say, some of their fighting games, like Tekken 7, like Soul Calibur 6, and it's nothing different than, say, like what Nintendo has done with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and stuff with the character passes and whatsoever. But even so, it's still fucking shitty that if you invest inside of a fighting game, especially this generation at launch, and then you have to shell out, yeah, even Dragon Ball FighterZ, man, he's like, shell out all of this for all the content. It honestly makes a lot more sense to wait until like a big old Game of the Year edition or whatever the hell with the multiple season passes and everything come out. Because here's the thing, you know who's going to get the best deal out of this whole spiel? Is the people that have waited this long after release in order to invest the $50 or $60 into this game. But that being said, and that ran out of the way, the content of this DLC, which, you know what, yeah, a couple of the characters are alright and stuff. I'm not familiar with Mortal Kombat, but I'll tell you what, it's fucking hilarious that we have a fighting game that involves the Terminator, Spawn, the Joker, and fucking RoboCop.
Right?
This is like some fucking 80s teens wet dream, dude. That's what it basically is.
It really is.
This is fucking Ed Boon as a kid. It's like, oh man, you know, it'd be fucking cool if we had like freaking Freddy Krueger inside of this game and stuff. Or hey, if we have RoboCop and then we have fucking Terminator just going neck to neck with each other, do these fatalities and shit. It's like, yeah, it just sounds like a fever dream. But how RoboCop's gonna work in terms of like instead of a fighting game to where you have characters that'll initially start jumping and this and that, it just makes me think: is he gonna be like this fucking tank that's just gonna be moving around and just basically spouting one-liners? But I'll tell you what, the coolest part about that is they got the original voice actor, the original actor, Peter Weller, for RoboCop. That is amazing. Noticed his voice immediately when they showed that trailer. And I'll tell you what, man, looking at some of the reactions from fighting game fans and stuff, like, what the fuck? What's RoboCop? Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's pretty much it, though, for me.
Yeah, I think that's a good way. Like that's a good way of thinking. Actually, it's like I want to. I mean, if it comes out and it's fantastic and it's like a decent amount of content, maybe then I'll pick it up. But like I was saying earlier, beginning of the show, I got a shit ton of stuff to play right now, so I don't need to get it on May 26th. But yeah, I don't know. It's probably smarter to just wait. Maybe in a few months they'll have it for like $30 and pick it up. But yeah, I'm gonna have to wait and see. Like I liked Mortal Kombat 11. It's probably my least favorite of the Mortal Kombats of this trilogy, but it was still good. The story just gets fucking bonkers crazy. It's like, I don't know, but I don't know. It feels like they're like rebooting the story they did. So
Tyler, that's what they do like every few generations, like every few games, dude.
I know it's just stupid, but I know
it's like Mortal Kombat 9 was like the reboot of this whole entire thing, and all of a sudden it's like 10, 11 and stuff, and it's gonna be like the last hurrah. Then it's gonna be another reboot, dude. Who knows? I mean, the way they're doing this, it looks like they could probably continue on the story from it, but they are rebooting the world in a way. So I don't know. We'll wait and see, but I'm just gonna see what people are saying. But if it's only like a couple hours, there's no chance in hell I'm getting that. Especially even for $40, but especially $60. Well, why not just look into it and see, Yeah,
I'm gonna wait till like reviews and shit come out and see what people have to say. But even still, if it comes out and it's like it's another 5-6 hours as long as the regular campaign, but it's even still, I'll probably just like you said, wait till it's a Game of the Year edition, maybe later in the year or when it's on sale or on PlayStation sale or something like that for $30. I'll pick it up. But yeah. I don't know. I'm excited they're doing so. They're continuing on because I love NetherRealm's games. So, I was hoping we get like an Injustice reveal sometime this year because every other year they release a game and they always take turns with Injustice and Mortal Kombat. So, hopefully we're getting Injustice 3 next year. But I mean, I guess they didn't announce Mortal Kombat until the Game Awards and it came out like 4 months later. So, I mean, they could wait till the end of the year, beginning even next year to announce the next one.
I'll be perfectly honest. I'd be more accepting of a Injustice 3 at this point.
Yeah, I love Injustice 2. That's probably my favorite. I think I like the Injustice games more than I like the Mortal Kombat games. So,
same.
Yeah. So hopefully we get some news on that here soon. But moving on to our last topic here. So there's been a lot of issues going on with Sony lately with some DMCA takedowns on YouTube of people's Last of Us 2 videos. I didn't know anything about this, and you were telling me about it, but a lot of people are having their getting copyright strikes and getting their videos taken down, even just for so much as like mentioning Last of Us on Twitter, like about spoilers, things like not even like giving out spoilers, but like saying no spoilers, things like that. Or there's no gameplay in it. There's no audio from the video or anything from the games itself. But people are.
Even like certain things like, say, live streaming. There was a YouTuber on Twitter that, I forget his name, but apparently it was just like a discussion that they were having, like his group of friends or something like that, just streaming and stuff, and his stream was automatically taken down from YouTube as like a file a copyright claim against it because...
I'm looking at it. It says Jeremy Prime?
Yeah, Jeremy Prime, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so, he was the one that had his Twitch... video taken down. But go ahead, sorry.
Okay, so initially, yeah, a few weeks back, Naughty Dog had a whole bunch of content, assets, videos, pictures leaked onto the internet. They're claiming hackers. Honestly, at this point, it's up in the air because there are conflicting reports of it being hackers or of it being like the disgruntled worker or a third-party contractor or whatsoever. The fact remains is the game, if you want to see the spoilers of The Last of Us Part 2, hey, that's all up to you, man. It's like, if you want to go forth and go deep and then just go through that, it's there. It is there and stuff. But the initial backlash, the initial backlash, people didn't like the ending of The Last of Us Part 2. I understand. But at the same time, let me just cover this right now, as we will not go into any details in regards to spoilers on The Last of Us Part 2. But what I would like to share is, like, in terms of, say, the reaction by Sony and by Naughty Dog in response to even remotely talking anything negative, it feels like, about The Last of Us Part 2. Quintessentially, I think it's absolutely bullshit. Why? Because here these two entities are, going through and controlling, and trying to just manage and just control the opinion, control the outlook of a potential game release and stuff, because, quite honestly, they know they're in deep shit right now in terms of not only just the gamers in general who have found out of how this game ends and are subsequently pissed because of what happens in that game. And on top of that, these false claims, these false DMCAs on YouTube channels, even on some as meaningless and stuff, like some things like memes. You know, going through flagging down memes, doing this and do that. You know, like, I'll be perfectly honest with you. Both Neil Druckmann and Sony have not done a good job in terms of like PR control in regards to this whole situation. Now, bear in mind, yes, even though I was saying otherwise, that I was not looking at any type of spoilers or anything like this, when I started hearing about initial, and was the straw that broke the camel's back, when I started seeing YouTubers starting to get flagged down, their whole channels getting taken off, a whole bunch of like people's opinions or something are trying to be silenced by this, I made it upon myself. I started watching Angry Joe and stuff, and his whole spoiler-fueled thing on the game. So quintessentially, I know the ending of The Last of Us Part 2.
That sucks.
However, you know what? I subsequently spoiled it for myself. I went and I looked on that eventually because I knew, bear in mind, I did not want to have the anxiety of having the game spoiled for me. I'm of the mind is, if I'm going to have something spoiled, I'm going to do it myself. So I went ahead and I basically know what happens, but I will still go through and buy that game and play through the game and just basically decide what my opinion is of it as a complete package before I go on to any type of like things saying, oh, this game's terrible or this game is good or this or that. I want to be on a level playing field. I know it's kind of impossible knowing the ending of a game that I have not even played yet, but at the same point, you gotta be thorough and like even kill trip on this. Because I will say this right now, there are a bunch of people that will not buy this game because of having the ending spoiled to it subsequently. I mean, hell, this is such a massive leak in general. No other video game I can remember had such like a major catastrophe in terms of a leaking of the game's plot before launch, besides like The Last of Us Part 2. But overall, Tyler, what's your take of this?
I don't. I think it's a little bit of an overcorrection where I understand they're trying to stop it from spreading, but yeah, it definitely sounds like they've gone too far in doing it. And it's not the first time companies have done shit like this where they've gone overboard with their copyright takedown. That happens all the time with companies, not just gaming, but I mean, we know it more because we're gamers, but you see shit like this a lot. It sucks that this is happening. It sucks that it got spoiled. It sucks that I mean, I know you did it for yourself, but it sucks that there's even an opportunity for you to find out what happens.
It got up to that point where it's like I did not trust anybody on Twitter. I did not trust anybody on YouTube or anything else because I knew I would be spoiled eventually with that game. Yeah. So I did it for myself.
Yeah, I made it to that first wave of this. I'm hoping to. I don't know what happens. I hope I can make it 6 more weeks. I've definitely been a little jumpier on like Twitter and stuff like that when I scroll through, but I feel pretty good about the people that I follow that they're not going to like retweet certain things or say certain things like that. But my big fear is YouTube more anything because like that shit just pops up all the time. Like just people make the header is a spoiler for shit. So.
It has for me, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely been spoiled in the past on movies and shit like that because of people posting like as the header or whatever on YouTube. So I think I'll be okay for now. But I think as we get closer that last week before these consoles for the Last of Us 2 comes out and shortly after, it'll be the toughest time to avoid spoilers. That thing. So it does suck that we have an extra 3 weeks now of potentially happening.
Right.
But it sucks that like I said, this whole situation sucks. I hate everything about this. It shouldn't have got leaked. You shouldn't have known. You shouldn't have had that anxiety of finding out. I mean, it sucks that you know what happens, and it sucks that people's videos are getting taken down because of this. Like I hate this entire situation.
Yes, I do too. But at the same point, let's just go ahead and give a PSA right now in terms of everybody that's actually listening to this, where it's like, if you don't want to hear any type of spoilers or want to see any type of spoilers, God, stay away from any type of social media thing for like the next 3 or 4 weeks if you don't want to be spoiled that badly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely, like I said, I'm a little jumpier on to where I don't spend as much time on social media as I used to these days, anyways. But yeah, I'm definitely being a little more careful with all that. And I definitely I completely avoid pretty much like the recommendation section on YouTube, because that's usually where I get spoiled on shit. Like I'm just sticking to my subscription stuff and like my videos on like what I subscribe to, and that's pretty much I'm staying in a video game bubble for the next 6 weeks.
Oh yeah,
to avoid everything
don't
on that.
man, don't even like man, try to avoid what happened to people, say like gaming journalists and stuff like Greg Miller, or even like angry like personalities like say Angry Joe or something like that, where they basically had the ending of this game spoiled in their fucking chat because one dick had to go through and it's like try to ruin it for everybody else inside of that whole thing. I'm like, oh man, I am so glad that I do not, and I fucking do not. I'm actually kind of glad I did spoil it for myself, because if I would have found out inside of a Twitch chat of somebody I had followed and was paying and like doing the content, then I would be fucking pissed.
Yeah, that would. I mean, I would be legitimately depressed. I mean, not like super duper depressed, but it like legitimately like I don't know if there's any game out there in the last 5 years like finding out the ending to before it comes out or before I get a chance to play it would bum me out more than this one. So
right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like Greg Miller, he found his out because people on the You're Wrong section of their podcast posted spoilers in there.
My
yeah,
God.
Same thing happened to him basically. Yeah, and then like I know I've heard a couple other podcasters and stuff and YouTubers and stuff like that. It's like they've got spoiled for him because of shit like that, or like just going through comments. Like I'm not even going on comments. I don't look at comments anyways on like YouTube or anything in general, really. Anyways, so like I'm pretty good about like avoiding that. But like I've heard a lot of people like get spoiled like that, like or just reading the comments on their videos, or you know like a lot of people are like, well, it's getting spoiled. Like I know it's gonna get spoiled for me. I'm basically just do what you did, and people are just like, just go look it up and figure out what happens. But yeah, I feel like I have a decent chance of getting through this thing unspoiled. Knowing my luck, the day it comes out, I'll get spoiled or something like that. So
oh God!
I'll make it 2 months and then.
Well, you know what's going to happen then, right? It's like as soon as you get the game, you got to plow right through it so you don't get spoiled.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I'm gonna like have to like take the weekend off work or something. I'm like, Courtney, I need like 20 hours for the next 3 days. Leave me alone. I gotta knock this game out before it gets ruined for me.
Okay, how can I beat this game the quickest? I'm gonna get on the easiest settings, and I'm gonna plow my way through this son of a bitch.
And that's what's gonna suck. I'm gonna feel like I know when the game comes out, I feel like I'm gonna be forcing my way through this game faster because I want to be able to play this game and play it the right way. But I know I'm gonna be playing through it faster because I don't want to risk the chance of being spoiled. So it sucks. This whole thing sucks. I hate this. So yeah. But I think that's going to wrap up the show this week, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to hear more from us, we have a Twitter page. Or on Facebook, we have a page and group on there. On Twitch, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. Just look up Drunk Nerds or Drunk Dash Nerds podcast, any of those things. And then follow us, subscribe, like us. Give us a 5-star review. Leave a comment. Big thumbs up. Whatever you can do on Spotify if there's possible to leave a review. Do all that. And then twitch.tv/Colonel Gables. Follow him on there too, please. So next time, I was your host, I was Tyler.
And I've been Colonel Gables, so until next time, everyone, I hope you have yourself a good time. Hope you have yourself a nice day. If you're listening to this during the day, whatever. But most importantly of all, thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk Dash Nerds podcast.
Hey, Gables.
Yep.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Excuse me. Few too many beers there. Anyways, we're on iTunes now, so go on there, check us out, and if you like us, leave us a review, and we'll even shout you out. And Jack will send you his credit card number.